Everybody, this is an exciting day here on the Productive Conversations podcast. Why is that? Because I have one of the kindest souls I ever met out of the University of Hartford. This person is going to bring us so much joy, tell us so many great stories, and we're going to learn a lot from him. So without further ado, Chris DeGray is on the Productive Conversations podcast, everybody. Chris, what's going on, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good, and I'm happy to be here today, and hope to add something to the show, Matt.
Oh, I am confident that you will be. So, Chris, this is fantastic. Love the shirt. I really do, as I've done plenty of these. That is one of my favorite shirts. I honestly might ask you afterwards you get that because I'm gonna go um get it myself, honestly. I feel like special special button down shirts with special designs are in right now. So can't complain there. Where did you get that if you know the top of your head?
Yeah, I got it for Forever 21. I always like their new kind of catalogs they get, and sometimes they have some good stuff, sometimes they don't. It's always kind of a mixed bag, but this is one of my favorite ones I found there.
Excellent. Sweet. So thanks to our friends out at Forever 21. And I am generally going to be looking out for that very soon. So, first things first, Chris, how's your 2021 been? Obviously it's been a adjustment for what took place the year prior, but I'm sure someone with as much intelligence and talent as you're able to make the most of it. But I would love to hear how the past 8 months has been for you. Talk to me, Chris. How's 2021 been?
It's actually been a pretty great year so far. Yeah, at the beginning of the year, things were still like a little scary with the pandemic getting worse again. And my roommates and I actually moved into a new apartment complex, which is always an exciting development too, because it was a lot nicer and bigger than our old one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and ever since though, since I got vaccinated, I believe it was I want to say May, I believe. I felt a lot better because I was actually able to kind of do things this whole
Yeah.
summer and be able to go out and get a lot more plans. And I have a lot planned for the rest of the year too. So it feels good to go out and do stuff because I love to travel. So I'm excited to be able to do that again because 2020, I didn't really go anywhere other than the New
Mm-hmm.
England area. um, so it feels good to actually be able to have a summer again and go out and be safe and do a lot of fun things.
Beautiful, beautiful. Where exactly are you located right now? Where you reside?
I live in Manchester, Connecticut, so I'm
Oh,
still actually
okay.
fairly close to you, Hart.
Sweet. And yes, that's where me and Chris met at the University of Hartford. Working at the STN2 TV station where Chris really stride an excellent reporter and anchor. So, you hit on traveling. Why don't we hit on that some more? So, Chris, you are a traveler, as you just mentioned. Um, I think definitely people our age taking advantage of the traveling if they have that bug in them. So I would just love if you could elaborate more with that about your travels in the world. When did you really start traveling on your own? What have been some of the places that you have gone to and discovered? And what were some of the things you learned from going to these special places?
Yeah, so ever since when I kind of came to college, it was always a goal of mine to study abroad because like I always went on like family trips growing up and everything, but my family is not really a big traveling family. It's just never
Mm-hmm.
been a priority as much for them. But it was always something I really wanted to do, so it was always a goal of mine. And come junior year, I paid for it myself, my first study abroad trip
All
for
right.
spring break, where we went to London and Barcelona. And ever since then, that was when I really caught the travel bug after that because it was an amazing trip. The professors were really great and they just mainly wanted us to
Mm.
have a fun time. Of course, learn while we're there, but overall, they wanted you to more learn about the culture of the place, which is kind of what I wanted from the experience, was to really learn about the culture and different types of cultures and like go to like different art museums and other stuff
Yeah.
overseas. So it was always something, it was like a dream of mine. And I actually went with the same professor as my senior year too, to Paris and Vienna and Budapest. So it was a really great experience, both trips with them.
Excellent. What was like one of some of the biggest culture shocks? You go into a new place. That's awesome. You're able to pay for it yourself. So I'm sure you want to especially take that in. I've earned my place to get in this world. But you go there. I'm sure things were different back then. Not a lot of annoying American things that we like to do, but it's good to learn from other cultures. But what were some of the biggest culture shocks that you got out of going to these various places, your Budapest, your Vienna's, your London? What was some of the shocks that you got out of going there?
Yeah, one kind of funny story, I don't know if it was as much of a shock, but I just always find it humorous, was when I was in London, we went through the Sweeney Todd kind of like kind of telling of like the dark side of London, which
Ooh.
was really cool. And there was one place where we were talking with one of the workers there and they were asking where we were from. And we were like, oh, we're from Connecticut. And they were just like, that is such an exotic sounding place. And I'm just like, if you ever been to Connecticut, it's the complete opposite of exotic. So that was really, I don't know if it was as much of a culture shock, but I just always found it hysterical that someone would think that a place like Connecticut, for us, it doesn't, it's like, it's Connecticut, but to someone that's never been there, it sounds like it's a really cool, exciting place.
Yes, I'm sure the Merritt Parkway brings out that exoticness from our state. That is funny
Exactly.
though. Or lake compounds or wherever. Wow, that I'll tell you, there are some people who have that feeling that they have that, but that is pretty funny actually. Oh my goodness. Now, what were some of obviously you go to a new place, you try new foods, don't have your McDonald's, you don't have many American grocery stores to make your stuff. Can you talk to me about some of the great foods you were trying? You being Anthony Bourdain and seeing these new culture foods. What were some of the foods that really was soothing to you and you enjoyed? And maybe you go out and Amazon it back home, freeze, asking them to freeze it up for you.
Yeah, for me, I'm like the pickiest eater, so the most things I tried were probably desserts
Mm,
overall, but I did try a lot of
can't go wrong with
desserts.
that.
And one of my favorites that I never had before was when I went to Paris and started having macaroons for the first time. And I
Mm,
never had one before because I just never really heard of them. And now I know they're kind of all over here too, even though it is a French thing. And they were the most amazing thing. They're just like small and it really melts in your mouth and getting all the different flavors. And of course, overseas they make them the best. It's not ever compared to how they are here, but they're
oh my
still
goodness.
really good. And whenever I get a chance, even if I'm just going to Costco, I always get the pack of them whenever I see them. And it makes me think of back being in Paris.
Oh, see, bringing something home with you, literally, and then love for macaroons. Now, as we are slowly at the other side of this, I understand Delta variant masks are back, but I know vaccine push has been happening, so good thing there. So, assuming that we really are at the end of this, we're at the fourth quarter, and we can now travel to places again. What are some of the places you really strive and hope to go to? Where I should say, where are these places?
Yeah, I definitely have a couple places in mind. Probably nothing international for me, at least until like I was thinking 2023, 2024, because I'd want to wait more for a while for that.
Yeah,
But one exciting place I really want to go to next year is Wyoming, actually, because one of my friends
Wyoming.
lives there, and it's a
Mm,
place I've never really have had on my bucket list, really. But I've seen all of her photos, and they're so amazing and it's so beautiful. And she invited us to come. She actually invited us originally for this year, but just with other travel plans and stuff and vacation days, it didn't work out. But I started
right.
planning for it for next year, to go down for a week and visit her with another one of my friends and see Yellowstone and everything over there. Because it just is more a very, if you're going there, you're mainly seeing nature, and because
Yeah.
it's just so gorgeous and breathtaking. And every place she goes, it's like it doesn't look real. Like it doesn't look like anything I've seen before. So it made it a really top-notch priority. And plus, it's always great to know someone when you're going over there too, to be able to visit
Right.
them. So it's kind of the best of both worlds because I get to be able to see her, but I also get to see this brand new gorgeous place.
Well, when you look at these things, they look like the screensavers on our laptops. Now you can make those pictures yourself. That must be really exciting. And yeah, I think there's something to see in that other side of the country, not as much exposure or media coverage, and see how people live and see their various opinions, whether you agree with them or not. It's nice to hear other perspectives in this country.
Yeah, and it's definitely because it's a lot different over there than over in like the New England type culture, or even if you're going
Yeah,
more down south too. It's like every part of the US kind of has its own feel to it, which is
right.
really unique. aspect of the US where it's kind of like you're going to another country, but it's only
Yeah,
like another
right.
state.
I want to see that myself too. Those Wyoming's, Idaho, Big Plain states. That's very cool. Very, very, very interesting. Yeah, I really only started traveling till after college. First, I went to Los Angeles for the first time back in October 19, seeing that culture in SoCal, and it was really sweet. And I, like you, want to see some other places as well. Think more domestic too. Like I'd like to see New Orleans. I've never heard a bad thing about people who traveled there, or Nashville, or Texas, or like even Niagara Falls. Could just drive up there. I'd like to see what else this country has to offer. And then yeah, I'd like to go see the Italy or London, England, and see what's up over there.
Yeah, a lot of those ones have been bucket list items for me, especially Italy and New
Yeah.
Orleans and LA. Those three especially have been ones I've always heard a lot of great things about and have wanted to go and visit and check out the culture over there because each of those places too is so unique. Like they're
Hmm.
very very different than a lot of other places and a lot of cool stuff to see.
Yeah. And make new friends all over the other side of the country, and they can have your back when you need them. So you have my support in those endeavors. And if you want to make a TV show out of it, I'll watch it.
Oh, thanks a lot too. And that is also actually one of my favorite things when traveling is meeting people.
Yeah.
Because there are people and a lot of times like I might like add them on Snapchat or something or like
Hmm.
on Facebook. And it's really interesting to see this one person that you really know nothing about. But you remember that like one encounter where you met them.
Yeah.
And it's really cool just to kind of see their life and what happened, even though like you only knew them for like a day where you met them on like a group excursion or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, so it's kind of cool meeting people all around.
Oh yeah, those random Instagram friends. Like there's got to be a word for it, but it is kind of funny in that perspective, and add to the follow count and to your culture as well. So it's strangers are just friends you haven't met yet most of the time. I know there's some weird strangers, but um, the importance of opening yourself out there. You never know where they can lead you. Maybe they know somebody who can help you get a job or something, or they can you might really impress them. So it's always nice to make new friends. Key with that.
Exactly. And especially after 2022, where we've all been cooped up, it's so nice to actually be able to go and meet other people again too.
Yeah, it adds to it. And it's something we all went through too. We all have this connection at this time. So that's a great icebreaker for anything. What did you do the pandemic, or which vaccine did you get, or all these new things uh in our post pandemic world. So one thing I want to nerd out with you, Chris, because I know you're a fan, I know you have experiences with it, is theater. I know you've performed at UHard, you've performed outside of UHard. Now this is a time where we're starting to see theater communities come back. That's what's great about this fall, whether Broadway or regional community theater or national tours. It's now time to start to have storytelling on the screen, on the screen, on the stage again. Talk to me about how excited you are, first of all, that theater is coming back, and do we see in the near future a return on the stage for the great Chris DeGray?
Yes, I'm definitely very excited for theater to come back because even during the pandemic, I tried to keep it alive as much as I could too, by
Mm-hmm.
seeing either like recorded ones or of course when Hamilton came out on Disney Plus was really great.
Yes, game
Um,
changer that summer.
so it's like I tried to like at least keep it alive during that time, but I'm so excited for it to return. I already have some actual rescheduled shows at the Bushnell in Connecticut
All right.
that I'm going to be seeing that I was supposed to see back in 2020, but they luckily didn't cancel. They just rescheduled the tour, so I'm going to be seeing the band's visit in Dear Evan Hansen in the future. So I'm
All
excited for
right.
both of those,
And
and
we
I
got the
also do
movies
hope for a return.
and we got the movie adaptation of Evan Hansen this summer too, or this fall.
Yeah,
Sorry, you were saying, could we see the great return of Chris DeGray on the stage anytime soon?
yes, I definitely hope to be on the stage again. I was I was thinking of, because I've also done Fright Fest at Six Flags New England, and I was thinking of making a return this fall, but um, it was more not even like from a Corona concern. It was more due
Mhm.
to like a scheduling concern that I already have a couple weekends blocked out, and the few that
Right.
I don't have blocked out, Halloween's my favorite season. I didn't really want to be working as much as fun as it is doing Fright Fest. Um,
Especially after this, this is the first real return of the spooky season, so I'm sure you want to take it all in.
Exactly. Yeah. Because luckily last year I was able to still go to Headless Horseman in New York because they were doing their haunted attraction there, which was a lot of fun. And I was able to at least get a little bit of the spooky season. But this year I want to try to go as all out as I can now that's kind of back to a normalcy. Um, yeah, but that's one of my hopes is to return there eventually, probably next year. But I do
All
actually
right.
want to go on to a more traditional stage too with community theater because I've looked around at some things, but it really depends on my schedule and what the show is.
Yeah,
Because of course, like I want to make sure that it's something I could fully commit to.
for sure.
Where if I have like a trip planned or something, I'm like, and also to be the right show too. But it's definitely something that I've been keeping an eye out for and seeing if there's the right show where I'm going to try to audition for and get back on stage because I do truly miss it.
Excellent. Well, we're very excited for that. And Chris, when you get cast, please let us know so we can promote your appearance for that. But in the past, tell us about some of your favorite roles you ever done. You mentioned Fright Fest, and I do have a whole section on Six Flags because I know you work there, and I'd love to save that for the end of the show. But besides a Fright Fest and such, what are some of your best and most enjoyable experiences on the stage?
Yeah, one of actually my favorite roles that I did was one that I wasn't expecting to be my favorite role.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was kind of on a whim my senior year in college that I auditioned for the Rocky Horror Show,
Yes,
Shadowcast.
classic.
And when I auditioned for it, it was kind of one of those last minute decisions. I was like, yeah, if I get cast, I get cast. And I ended up getting cast as Riff Raff. Um,
Okay.
and I was not expecting that either because I was originally just kind of going for one of like the background people. I wasn't really trying to be like one of the main ones in there. And I ended up loving it because I only saw the show a few times. I knew about it and liked it, but I wasn't like a full like Rocky person yet. But by the end of
Mm,
that show, it was like my blood. Like I loved it, loved it so much. It was one of my favorite roles. I had the most fun on stage. And it was truly an instance of the show must go on too, because the
yeah.
week of the show, I had like a really bad bug
Oh,
where I had like I think like 102-degree fever and everything. And my
oh,
doctor's like, you probably should rest. And I was like, no, I'm going on that stage. The show's for me.
yeah. You're riffraff.
Um,
Let's do the time warp again. I mean, you have to say those words and lead them. So,
exactly.
well, look at that. That's actually that's really intriguing. And yeah, it's so fascinating with that story and the midnight theater showings and the legendary cult status that show has both on stage and screen. That's really awesome to hear. That's cool. And now you have bragging rights to say that you've done riff raff. What was your favorite number being riff raff in the show?
I probably have to be on the basic side with it and say Time Warp because it's just so much fun. Like to
Hey,
me, it's just the most fun to do there. I love it. It was a lot of fun doing that number. I love the dance. It's just
yeah.
crazy too, and it was fun. Working with the actress that played Columbia too. We just
Hmm.
kind of had like a lot of fun there, and Columbia and Magenta. We kind of all just had like a lot of fun time together. So I really enjoyed it.
Well, it's a staple for a reason and a great show tune. So I don't blame you on that. And that's so epic, Chris. That's really cool. That is really, really cool. And some other shows. I'm just curious, what are some of the shows that you don't really care for? Like, is there a show that maybe a whole group of people like and you're so on? Is there any shows you may not understand while other people do? And of course, before we nerd out on the ones we like, but what are some of the shows that maybe you don't really feel?
There's one show that I really truly despise,
Hmm.
both the movie and the Broadway show. is Cats. I saw it first
Yes.
devotional, and then I saw the movie kind of as a joke. And
Oh
both
man.
versions I hated. I thought it was
Yeah.
so bad. I was just confused the whole time, and I was like, I don't want people to think this is what musical theater kids are like. But that show is one I really don't like. I've never been the biggest Andrew Lloyd Webber fan, besides for
Really?
Phantom of the Opera. Phantom of
Hmm.
the Opera is, of course, a classic, and I love it. But a lot of his other
Right.
shows haven't been a fan of because I really hate Cats. I also don't like Jesus Christ Superstar
Hmm.
or Evita. So I've never really been able to get into a lot of his shows, but Cats is truly the worst. I've really hated it.
Yeah, and it's ironic because it was at one point the longest running Broadway show till, as you said, the other Andrew Lloyd Webber Phantom took that and still has that streak technically. So yeah, it's Cats is a tough one, especially the movie version, and you have all these great cast members. The only one that's respectable performance is Jennifer Hudson. But again, when you had the ridiculous CGI, it's hard to take seriously. Tough role for James Corden that one and Taylor Swift, but hey, at least they did something, I guess.
Yeah.
That's another one show I don't really feel for as some others may. And it's ironic because I've actually that was my first Broadway show was Rock of Ages. Now I liked the music, I like that nostalgic sound, but I don't know, iffy plots. There was another confusing revolving stage. Um, I guess if you like the nostalgia stuff, and my mom is everything about the '80s, but that was one show I didn't really feel for, and also the movie adaptation really panned. So I guess with there's a nice correlation with that. But what are some of the shows that you do love? The ones that inspire you, the ones that you will put on, the ones you will bump on your Spotify while walking the street or at the gym or whatever. What are some of the shows that really bring you some life?
Yeah, one of my absolutely favorite shows is one that I feel like isn't a terribly well-known one, Come From Away, which I think is
Yeah,
breathtakingly gorgeous.
the
Just because
9/11
it's,
story, correct?
yeah, that is correct. And it's one of those stories you never heard of, I feel like, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for people who don't know, Come From Away is a show, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but I believe 9/11, obviously horrific day, but obviously you needed planes, couldn't fly into New York. So one on their way to New York, flew down in a rural Canadian town, I believe, right?
Yeah, the
And
Canadian town of Gander in Newfoundland.
interesting. And, it's basically about, bringing people in a horrific situation, creating a community from it, I believe, right?
Yeah, that's correct. It's really gorgeous too of all these people that were brought there like because it was this small kind of airport and small town where they had
Mm,
now all these people and all these various planes of scared people that were needed to be landed somewhere. So they were kind of from all over the world. And this
yeah.
town gathered together and got food for these people and got clothes for them and took care of them and tried to comfort them and made room, of course, for them to like pray and get phones to try to call their loved ones to and really take care of all these people. And the show is really gorgeous and focuses on a couple characters and their stories and kind of what's happened to them and how they got here and what their worries are. And it's really gorgeous show of just people coming together in this horrific tragedy and how their lives were also changed for it by
Mm.
being there and meeting these people that it's heartbreaking that they would have never met if it wasn't for one of the most awful things in our history.
Yeah, it's funny how that all came together, and I guess it shows even in the worst times you can make some silver lining. Yeah, that's a really great choice. Are there any other shows that bring you life or you really enjoy besides that?
Yeah, another favorite of mine is Wicked. I've always
Mm,
really loved Wicked. It was one of my first shows I saw on Broadway and I really enjoyed it. It was just one of those shows it's just so epic and grand in scale and I've always loved anything Wizard of Oz related.
oh
Um
yes,
and the music is just amazing. It's phenomenal. So that's another one I've always really enjoyed is Wicked too.
classic. Even though it is a Android Lloyd Webber one.
Oh no, that one
Oh wait, no,
actually
no, sorry,
isn't.
that's a Sondheim's. Excuse me. I
Yeah,
believe.
it's Stephen. It's not Sondheim. It is a Stephen though. I forget his actual full name, but Stephen something.
Whoops. Yes. Stephen Schwartz, another great
That's what
legend.
it is.
I
Yes.
messed that one up, but that's why we make up for it. But Stephen Schwartz, obviously Prince of Egypt or Godspell Pippin, some of those names that he shows that he created. So see, we're always learning something.
Exactly.
One show, my favorite show, or the ones that stick out to mind, I really liked In the Heights, really, really, even before the movie adaptation, which was great. It really was a great movie adaptation. That's really a show that stuck out to me. Right before the Hamilton wave, because there was a person from Norwalk named Robin DeJesus, the original Sonny. He's had a great Broadway career in his own right, but that show was really cool. Introduced Lin-Manuel Miranda before he obviously became a namesake and an iconic figure. I think that show really stuck out to me, combining Latin music with some hip hop and a really, really interesting story, I think, as well, with great ensemble cast to pull it off. I think that's a really sweet. I could do opening number from my head. I really could. You could put me there on karaoke, whatever. It's that one really slaps for me. Really love Rent. Love combining that rock element, the La Boheme adaptation, and I mean this real catchy tunes, and I like um it fascinates me, like that old gritty New York City where it takes place. And I think that is a great show. Movie adaptations a little bit disappointing, but maybe they'll try again. Those are the ones that really bring me joy. And I also love West Side Story. I really like classics like that. And like the Roger Hammerstein shows that my dad really put me on, your carousels and your King and Eyes and Sound of Music. Those are really cool to me too.
Yeah, those are all shows that I very much love too. And In the Heights too is one I've never seen the stage show. I only saw the movie, and the
Mm.
movie made me now really want to see the stage show
Oh
because that
yeah,
movie was phenomenal. The music I loved, the cast I thought was perfect. And it was just such like a light, like it was just brought like I feel like light into the world that it was just such like a good story. And the cast you could
absolutely.
see was having the time of their lives too.
Literally. And you like the relevant stuff for Latin and Latinx culture too, even with immigration and living in their communities with gentrification. I think they had all blended well for a very worthwhile story. It's something to think about too. And yeah, I think Anthony Ramos, who was Usnavi, he's going to be a big leading man in Hollywood. I really think so.
Yeah, he definitely will because he killed it as Usnavi. He was so good. And yes, that story was so timely and something that was
Yeah,
very much needed because you don't really see a lot of Latinx led movies, which is something
yeah,
that really needs to change in Hollywood and get
absolutely.
more.
It's time to showcase. We're now at a point we're showing authenticity in your storytellers, and this is a great opportunity to start that trend. And yeah, it was great that they were able to show that in a non preachy, corny way. You just let them tell the story, and then you don't need to throw out why this is relevant. You just let it go, show not tell. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That was the perfect thing is it makes you feel where it's like they don't really just like preach it to you. It's the story's told and they're telling you like the issues that they're going through and you just really feel for them and understand when
Oh
watching
yeah.
the story too.
And also when you have great choreography and music numbers, that's how you know. I mean, it was great. Corey Hawkins was really great as Benny. I mean, you seen him play a gangster in Dr. Dre Straight Outta Compton, and then he just turns a 180 playing, this very delicate soul, just has a nice crush on someone and try to make most of it. I think he really stuck out too. And your Nina was great as well, and Vanessa, whose names I will pull up really quick because they deserve the recognition. And in Leslie Grace is Nina Rosario, and Melissa Barrera. If I'm blanking, then I'm sorry. As Vanessa. So my other ones, but it's just cool to see some up and coming stars and really seeing the movie musical make a real push right now. Obviously, In the Heights was big. Dear Evan Hansen coming out at the end of the summer. You have Jonathan Larson's Tick Tick Boom coming on Netflix this fall. And then you have a West Side Story remake with Steven Spielberg directing it. The movie musicals making a push, Chris. This must excite you as well. Is it?
Yes, I'm very excited for all the ones you mentioned too, because it's really that this year they gave us all of the musical movies in one year. Because usually I feel like you
Yeah.
get one, maybe two a year, but
Mhm.
this year you got a whole bunch, and it makes me really excited. Another
Yes.
one I'm excited for too is Camila Cabello's Cinderella take.
Oh,
That's going to
yes,
be on
that's
Amazon
right.
Prime. Yeah, that's another one that I'm really pumped up for because I love her, and also I love Billy Porter, who's going to be playing the fairy godmother. So I think it's
Yes.
going to be really great.
Those two have made a real push these last few years. And I mean, Camilla's has some voice of an angel. She's great, fantastic. So, what are some of we talked about favorite theater shows? What are some of your favorite movie musicals? As you mentioned, another one, Prom, was really good. I understand it had some criticisms, but it was a cool little story as well, and based on a true story. That was another one, made another push. Um, what are some of the other movie musicals that really pump you up?
Yeah, yes, I definitely did love the prom, despite James Corden being a bit rough in it, but
Yeah,
I
rough
still
rough
did love
time
the
for him
film.
lately in some roles, but
Yeah,
he's very talented. He's won a Tony. He'll figure it out.
exactly. Yeah, because but the movie itself was really good, and Meryl Streep killed it.
Oh yeah,
But
people really need to reckon. Obviously, Meryl Streep's the goat in being a female actor and such, but she has some voice and always had this great voice to her. I think people should really recognize that too, on top of her greatness.
exactly, because her voice is amazing because she can really do like the very light parts, but she can also really do like the powerhouse numbers too.
Oh
She
yeah.
really can do anything. And she's actually in my all-time favorite movie, period, Mamma Mia, which is
Oh
my
yeah,
all-time favorite
duh.
movie musical and all-time favorite movie. I absolutely love it, and the sequel is my second all-time favorite movie
I've only seen
because
the
I
first
love
one,
those
not the
films.
sequel yet, but I've heard that's not a sequel that's gonna disappoint. So, I'm encouraged for that. And fun fact, I didn't meet. I was next to Amanda Seyfried once, waiting for a plane. She was right there, the equivalent of me, like literally 2 feet away. I could have totally said, "Hey, what's up?" But I was so scared. I don't want to have a bad Amanda Seyfried moment. I remember she was specifically reading a script, so like she was getting in the zone, but no one recognized her, or at least was fanboying. But that I have was very. I was once in the proximity as Amanda Seyfried, and hopefully I get to tell her that someday.
Yeah, no, yeah, because if I ever saw her, I'd have to say something because I'd want a photo.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'd be like, that's my all-time favorite movie. Because that's the thing is, I'd only go up to a celebrity if I could say something to them. Because I wouldn't
Yeah,
want to go up
right.
to someone and just be like, I want a photo and not tell them anything that I like appreciate about them. I'd want
Yeah.
to be able to tell them a story or something of their works that I really enjoy.
Yeah, your connection to them besides your Instagram mega liked picture. You want to show that they did something meaningful to them. But back to the movie musicals. What are some of your other movie musicals you like besides Mamma Mia? Is there any other ones that you really liked, whether as a kid or now?
Another one I also always really enjoyed was Hairspray, the one
Mm,
with John Travolta. Because that one I
yeah.
absolutely love. That's like definitely one of my all-time favorite films too, and also one of my all-time favorite musicals that I really have loved. Because I feel like it's such like a great story, and that cast was completely game for it too. And that's when I actually kind of prefer the movie to the stage version I've seen. I've never seen it
Yeah, I've heard that
professionally, but I've
before.
seen Hairspray live on the TV and also at community theater. And I just never really liked the way it's played as much on stage, where I
Mm,
thought the movie did it really well. Because a lot of times on stage they play Edna a little bit more comedic, but her
mhm.
singing isn't as well, I always think. And in the movie, I thought John Travolta's voice, he more focused on having a good singing voice rather than just being like funny, which
Yes.
I thought kind of added to it because I don't really like the way the songs are sung in the stage versions because they kind of just do it more for laughs.
Mm. Yeah,
But that's one thing I really appreciated about him is he did it more for the musical value.
Obviously, legend in the movie musical stage. I mean, don't forget he did Grease. I mean, geez, we're keep growing up those numbers and a great actor, all in all. Um, yeah, my favorite movie musical is West Side Story, just classic. And obviously, you can see from my wall, I just love being around great culture, and that's just balling. And it's at the time too, it was the first time really showing off Latin actors, and obviously gaining more roles since then. Obviously, the great Rita Moreno makes big moves in it. The late wow, why am I blanking? How can I be blanking? Natalie Wood as Maria. I mean, just one of the greatest movies in general. And I love sound, again, back to Rogers Hammerstein, Sound of Music, the legendary Julie Andrews with the role of a lifetime. Those are some that really stick out to me. Um, and I mean, obviously, this is not a movie musical, but the filmed version of Hamilton is always a treat. So those are the ones that really stuck out to me. Love the classic ones. Another one, Barbara Streisand and Funny Girl. I mean, she's still rock and rolling with it. So I love the classic movie musicals, especially. Rocky Horror Picture Show is another one. It's the first role for
Yeah.
Susan Sarandon. So this is then obviously Tim Curry's legendary performance in it. So I just love talent, Chris, as you can tell.
Yes, definitely. And West Side Story is also another favorite for me too. And it makes me I'm excited for the Steven Spielberg one because I know it's gonna be great, but to me, nothing will beat the classic one.
Oh
I
yeah.
love that one so much. And Rita Moreno is just no one can beat Rita Moreno. She's just one of
No,
like the all-time greats. Like she's
exactly.
phenomenal.
Even though I know the show just ended, but I mean, staying relevant with One Day at a Time, the Netflix version, and still being funny and moving around. We got to appreciate her, and she's won an EGOT, so we always love the EGOT winners, most of them.
Exactly. And one day at a time, that was when I was really sad got canceled because I was like, how can you
Yeah.
cancel Rita Moreno? That was like my thought. I was like, how can you cancel her? That show was
Oh,
amazing.
exactly. Legitimately funny. Um, I know people always feel the sitcom's gonna die, but then you have shows like that or that keeps making it move. And I also really like Justina Machado was great in that, and Isabella Gomez is gonna go places. So yeah, just keep showing that talent, everybody. Oh man. So Chris, I'm so interested in this next part. I know you used to work, as you mentioned this before. You worked at Fright Fest. You used to work at Six Flags, correct?
Yeah, I worked at Six Flags from I think it was 2017 to 2019, where in 2017 and 2018 I did the full season from summer, fall to holiday season. And then for 2019, I just came back for Fright Fest.
How about that? You worked at an amusement park. I feel like if there was one thing I wish I did younger, I'd like to work at an amusement park. Even though it's been excuse me, long time since I've been in one. I love the amusement park. I mean, you literally go to a world of fun. Can you talk to us what exactly you did at Six Flags?
Yeah, it was definitely like the dream job. I absolutely loved it. I wish I started earlier too, because beforehand I worked at Staples, which is obviously not the world of fun.
Yeah, that's a
um,
little different.
yeah, so I kind of wish I thought to apply earlier, but at the same time, things come into your life for the right reason at the right time.
Right.
I always believe so. It was probably the right time for me to do it in 2017 and I absolutely loved it. I worked in the entertainment department
All right.
for in 2017. I was there for the summer and the fall, and then that holiday season, I did the games. So I did a
Oh,
switch there just because my availability was fairly bad that year because I had a
yeah.
couple things that I had to take days off. And for entertainment in the holiday, you really much have to be like have a full open slate because they very much need you for every day. And
Fair
then
enough.
in 2018, I did the entertainment department for all summer, fall, and the holiday season. Then, of course, in 2019, when I came back for Fright Fest, I did the entertainment department then too.
Great. So before we hit on the entertainment part, so when you work the games, are you literally that person like, shoot a basketball, I'll guess your weight, or throw the little frisbee things into a bottle. Is that literally you?
Yeah, the one I usually worked is I did the one kind of like where, as you were saying, like throw the frisbees or like the little hoops onto the
Mhm.
bottles, or I was on whack-a-mole also a lot,
Whack-a-mole.
um, which it was I really enjoyed it. My parents thought I was crazy at the time because I was basically standing outside in the freezing cold for quite a few hours, but I very much enjoyed it. And being an entertainment too, I was very talkative too on the midway. Like I was very much able to kind of drum up. Like I never was like quiet, because even one of the people next to me, they're like, "Oh, are you new here? You like talk a lot." I'm like, that's because I'm doing my job."
Yeah, right.
Like that's what I was hired to do.
Yeah, I'm just here to help you out. We're not all introverted or quiet. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you have to bring some pizzazz. So I have to ask this to be fair, Chris. Are those things rigged? Those games? Are they fooling us? Are they should we stay away, or we all just stink and we need to work practice on this stuff?
At least with whack-a-mole, whack-a-mole was not rigged. I don't know how the inner game mechanics work, but I know someone always wins. No matter what, there's always one person that can win in that game. And that was how most of the ones I worked were, was there was always going to be a winner for the most part. I don't
Okay,
really
cool.
work any of the ones where people were just kind of tossing away money at a point. There are some that are probably like that. They just weren't the ones that I really was working on.
Yeah, you'll
Um,
expose them. Don't go over here. See. Well, now that is assuring. See, that's something we will learn. There is a fair shot for everybody. And now with the entertainment aspect of Six Flags. So were you the person who, I mean, you mentioned that you've done the acting with the Fright Fest. Were you the person who escorted characters? Were you one of the characters in those famous suits? What exactly did you do in the entertainment part?
I was an escort for the characters.
Oh,
So I would
I've
be
always
taking
wanted
them
that
out.
job. Low
It's a
key.
lot of fun. And you definitely like, because you have to have like a lot of energy, especially to get guests to listen and stay in line, because and
Hmm.
especially to work with kids for all your sets too, and be able to kind of give them that special experience. So that was what I did for the summers. I was always an escort for it, and I really enjoyed it, and working and being able to learn a lot about the Looney Tunes and also the DC
Yeah.
superheroes and villains. They're all a lot of fun to go out with. I did enjoy always working with the superheroes and villains, because I could actually talk with them and they'd respond to me. Where
Yeah.
if I was talking with one of the Looney Tunes, I'd also be kind of talking for them, even though
Right.
they'd be, of course, expressing what they're feeling to me. But but it was a lot of fun either way. I always enjoyed going out and trying to make a kid's day too,
Yeah.
which was always the special part of the job.
That must have been the best part, as you said. Like if you have someone meeting a Bugs Bunny or a Daffy Duck or a Tweety Bird, that must have been really, really sick, huh?
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. One of my favorite things too is it was more on the slow days, because on a busy day you could never really do it.
Mhm.
But when you could could get a kid to go on a ride with you, we were allowed to go, and we would just radio our supervisor just to make sure it was okay. Um,
Wow.
and there was some I
Really?
went on where I remember, I think it was either one or two like little girls. I think they were like sisters, and we asked their parents if they wanted to go on one of the kids' rides with us. Um, and it was like one of those little car rides, and I remember I was with Taz that day, and we were
Taz.
going around, and we were doing all the talking, and then I'd look back and be like, Taz, are you having a good time? And he'd like nod his head. And it's a lot of fun, and the kids really enjoy it too, because it's more of a rare experience. Like many kids don't get to say they were on a ride with a character,
Yeah,
so
that's
it's a lot
bragging
of fun
rights.
for them too. Yeah.
Look at that. Wow, that is really cool, actually. Now, and after, what I'm just curious, what are you guys out for only like an hour, 2 hours? Is that the rule or something? I was just always curious about that,
Oh
or
no,
it just
we're
depends.
Oh no, we're out a lot less than that. It's usually 30 to 45 minutes we're out for a set, and then we go inside.
Oh, okay.
Um because it gets very tiring being out there for that long, especially in the heat of the summer too. So we usually do 30 to 45-minute sets.
Oh, okay. So I was only a little off there. um, so and then after they take, like if you have Bugs Bunny, he goes out, or whoever the actor is in there, they take their mask off. You ever see him take their mask off? It's like, oh my God, these people are nuts, or these people are fun and stuff. Was that always a funny thing to see?
Well, of course, at Six Flags, as the magic goes, when they go behind there, there's still Bugs Bunny at the end of the day.
Great answer to that. Great answer. Oh, one thing I've always wanted to do. I did this at a Six Flags in DC, and I said if I ever did this once, and as long as I'm properly trained, those rides that go 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds, the roller coasters. I remember the ride operator did this, and I was laughing the whole ride. He's like, "All right, everybody, let me tell you the rules." Bam, soup, and we were off and running. I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah, I feel like those people, that's them just very much having a fun time with their job too. And it shows that they're enjoying it. They're like, we're gonna think these people are getting instructions.
That's really cool. That's so you would say that Six Flags is the place to be, huh? It's a great place if you're young, want some money, and a great experience. It sounds like it's a lot of fun to work at amusement park.
Yes, it's definitely a lot of fun. I absolutely loved it. Every season has its own unique special benefits to it too. Of course, for me, my favorite is Fright Fest because I love scaring people.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun.
Could you talk to us about that? So what Fright Fest happens, spooky season, all the ghosts are out, the air is crisp, the leaves are changing. What exactly did you do for Fright Fest and scaring
Yeah,
people?
yeah, so it was definitely my favorite season because my favorite season in general is Halloween. That's always been my favorite holiday. And the section I worked in for Six Flags New England, I was in the kind of the back, it's called the woods area. And I worked in when I first started in 2017, the attractions were the Wicked Woods and
The Wicked
Aftermath.
Wood.
And Wicked Woods is kind of like ghosts and ghouls type thing, just your like average kind of like woodland creature type stuff. While
Very Connecticut.
Aftermath was zombies. Yeah. And then after 2017, they retired Wicked Woods because that one was around for a while. And then they brought Twisted Tales, which was Twisted Fairy Tales, which was my favorite attraction to work in. And I was usually there afterwards for 2018 and 2019, where I helped with Hansel and Gretel, the Evil Queen, Geppetto. So it was a lot of very fun characters that I got to be able to help out and play. And I really enjoyed them. And it was a lot of fun being able to be those different characters because
Oh,
fairy tales has always meant a lot to me. And I've
okay.
always really enjoyed them. And the makeup artists are incredible with the work that they're able to
Yeah.
do to make you really look wild for the night. And all of those characters I really enjoyed. It was my favorite thing getting to do those. And I miss my characters I get to play in the Twisted Tales. That's why I was like, I wish I could go back this year, but I decided not to just because of other things that I want to do in that season. But I'm really hoping next year I'll be able to go back.
Hey, fall 2022 will be here before you know it. And you go out there, scare people, do great at your job, and yeah, you're bringing the spooky season. Have you ever made anybody you or heard of a story that like someone like got really scared? Not that anyone got hurt, but you ever see that Scooby and Shaggy moment, like see ya, I'm out type of moments? It shows that you were really good.
Yeah, no, there's definitely been a lot that I've been able to get really scared. And you can kind of
Mm-mm.
tell in your group which ones are the ones to kind of work with. And obviously, you don't go to the
Yeah.
ones that are like really, really scared. I usually like, I'm like, I'll leave them alone. But I go to the ones that are more like in the middle. And I always like to try to get the hard people too. Like, I wanted, like, it's
Mm,
more rewarding when you get one of them really scared.
yeah.
Um, so I kind of like pick usually because I always have like a little place where I'm kind of looking in the group and I kind of pick my target before going out. Or
Okay.
like first I
Okay.
do a big group scare and then I come back and I'm like, which one is the one that I'm going to really direct this scare to?
Mhm.
Um, but no, there's definitely been some stories of people I've heard that have either also like peed or even pooped their pants when
Oh.
they're going
Mhm.
through because they got so scared. I think I made at least a few people pee their pants if I remember right, but I never made anyone poop their pants. But I have heard stories of people, but I never got that honor.
Well, again, it's never too late, whether in real life or
Exactly.
the spooky season. But yeah, it's it's a nice kickoff to that. And yeah, I believe in you, Chris. You can scare these people. You could pee their pants if you believe in it.
Exactly. That's what you got to do. And plus, one thing that was another favorite of mine with being in the Twisted Fairy Tales is
Mhm.
because you're playing very much a character there. Like a lot of them, like you look at their like story tales and what they've been through and the kind
Right.
of play that into the character. And you could kind of mess with people too, especially whenever I was playing the evil queen. It was a
Hmm.
lot of fun to call people all my peasants and really go after them. And some people would
Yeah.
get like really like uptight too. They're like, I'm not a peasant. And of course, I'd be the person I just mess with more because I'm just like, oh, you asked for it. You talked back to me.
Yeah.
Like I'm a scary creature. Do you think I'm gonna take that?
A result of this crazy world we're in. We're all peasants
Exactly.
fall into the great queen. But hey, show your bossness out there and scare these people. We all need a good scare. And what are some other spooky seasons? We're at the end of summer, and as we're obviously enjoying it, but we love our fall and spooky season. What other spooky season things you like to do? You like watching the horror movies? You like going the apple picking? You like the pumpkin spice latte? You like I don't know, scaring people obviously at work, maybe in real life. In this exotic place of Connecticut, people assume, and overseas that we're at. What other spooky season things are your go-to to enjoy?
Yeah, one of my go-tos is I very much love apple cider. I will be having like
Mm,
apple cider almost every day the month of October. I love it. And I've always when I want to catch up on all of my favorite horror movies and also my favorite just kind of Halloween movies like Hocus Pocus or Halloween Town.
yeah,
Um,
obviously you got to fit those in. Halloween High too.
exactly. The whole Halloween Town trilogy. Well, and the fourth one too, but the fourth one isn't one of my favorites. I like the original trilogy.
Yeah, that
Um,
doesn't count.
but of course I watch my horror too, even though I love horror movies and I get scared so much and I will continue to watch them no matter how much I get scared watching them. But I think that's also why I like them so much because I'm one of those people I like to get scared, you
Yeah,
know?
it brings a real emotion. That's one thing I've learned to appreciate watching horror movies. And up until honestly the pandemic, and I watched all the classics over 2020. I just, for more appreciation of storytelling, I knew there's that aspect for watching the horror movie and being entertained by it. So, having said that, Chris, what are some of your favorite horror movies? What are the ones that scare you for real? Whether it's The Shining or Frankenstein or Halloween or Toy Story 2, just kidding, or Good Burger. But what are some of the horror movies that you really enjoy?
Two of my all-time favorite horror movies are Halloween and also Scream, because I'm a
Oh,
big fan of slasher movies. A lot of them aren't done well though. There's like I'm a fan of like the ones that are done well, which is harder to find one because there's a lot
right.
of ones that they just kind of make cheaply.
Exactly.
Um,
And just trying to be gory for the heck of it.
exactly, and that's why those two are two of my favorites because Halloween's just pure scary,
Yeah,
and then Scream is more like funny but also really scary. And
exactly.
they always scare me in particular because they're ones where I'm like, this could actually happen. Because I'm like one,
Yeah,
I'm
right.
like, I believe in ghosts and stuff, but I'm enough of where I'm like, that would never happen to me at least. But a slasher movie, I'm like, there's enough nuts in this world.
Oh,
I'm like, you never know. So it scares me even
yeah.
more. I check my lock on my door probably like 8 times before going to bed after watching one.
Oh, yes. I'm there the rest of life, these stories. You remember at U Heart that whole clown phenomenon? Oh, it
I
all
do remember
not all
that.
not only at U Heart, but I mean all over the country. There was people dressing as clowns, legitimately scaring people and being assholes. But I remember people wrote in the rocks. They literally wrote clown and stuff. I mean that was a little smirk laugh, but there were some of these people who took it too far. But that felt like living in a horror movie, right?
It really did. And I know some of my friends that worked at Subway were kind of scared walking home at night, especially
Oh,
if they were freshmen, because they had to go all the way kind of through like that little wooded section too.
yeah,
So it was definitely really scary when that was happening. And another favorite for me is actually It too. I love the
right.
original It and then the new It. Um,
Classics right there.
yeah, those movies are amazing. And those ones always scare me. But again, it's one of those they scare me, but I'm like, I'm hopeful there's not a killer clown after me. But that year I was a little bit more on edge than usual.
Yes, just turning around side to side, making sure everything's okay. Yeah, I would have to say my favorite horror movies. I really like The Shining. just of how tense and suspenseful it is. And I really, okay, this is going to be a weird answer. I like this horror movie, but I will not rewatch it because it's so good at being really creepy. Is the movie, you ever see Midsummer?
I've heard of Midsummer and I've wanted to see it, but it's one I'm not sure if I'd like it or not because it looked very like really creepy.
Yes. I do suggest if you watch horror, it has it marks all the boxes for horror movies and takes it to another level. And maybe that's why it's a little bit daunting to watch. But I think it's worth, if you're a horror movie, watch it once. And it's the most, I mean, it's about a Swedish festival where these people go for an escape and they round up are being in a cult and seeing how that all transpires. And my endorsement is, it literally is the scariest, most disturbing horror movie I ever saw, but it really is entertaining and a great film. So it's on Amazon Prime if you have that. And I really, really suggest it still. That's probably my favorite horror for the fact that it really got what the point of the horror movie out of me. And I also really like Get Out. That's probably another great one. Also, very woke film and has something to say worth listening to as well.
Yes, definitely. I'll have to check out Midsummer and Get Out too. I love Get Out and Us. I think Jordan
Yeah.
Peele is just a visionary. Like his
Oh
movies are
yes.
amazing.
Get
And I
ready for
thought Us was
2022.
very underrated. I was hoping it was going to get a little bit more Oscar buzz because Lupita Nyong'o's performance
Oh
in that
yeah.
film was my favorite of the year. I didn't think anyone
Absolutely.
surpassed her. I thought she was incredible, and I thought it was when I saw that like nominations, I was like, how did they exclude her in so many different award shows? Because she really, truly, I thought gave the best performance because that's also a hard performance to play too.
Right.
Like it was very difficult because
Yeah.
she's playing like the good person. And I was also like her evil side too. And it's like very tricky. Then she mastered it.
It's your own worst enemy. Some people pull it off, some people can and make it a parody of themselves. And she really brought the other characters out. So excellent choices with that. And yeah, Jordan Peele, I saw he already announced next July he'll have his next film. And I think the only reason the Oscar buzz was tough, it came out so early in the year. And I think
Yeah.
there's something to having Oscars coming out later in the year to have fresher minds for the award season voters. So yeah, hopefully they figure it out for the next one. So just two more things to go, Chris. We've been killing it for an hour. I hope you've been enjoying it as much as I have. This has been a really great catching up and talking and all that fun stuff we're doing. I hope you've been having a good time with it.
Yes, I definitely have. I really enjoyed being on today and having a great conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you for the kind words, Chris. So I just want to know what you've been binging lately. What whether shows, films, podcasts, YouTube rabbit holes, TikToks, what have you been binging lately? Just because you have a great view on pop culture and I'm just genuinely interested to hear.
Yeah, and I've been binging a lot of TV. I'm always binging TV. I never really stop because there's so many good shows. It's hard. But the most recent one that I just finished was Outer Banks season 2. I watched it
My
all in
brother
the
loves that
weekend it
show.
came out. It is so good. It's if you love the Goonies, you'll love Outer Banks because it's
Oh,
that
okay.
same treasure hunting, like fun adventure, escapism, fun summer show with a great cast. That really truly is like fun off screen too, because I follow them all on Instagram and TikTok, and they're always like having shenanigans together and doing fun stuff. And the show itself, me and my roommates all watched it. And it's funny because when we watched the first season, we all watched it at different times because one of my roommates, she was the first one to watch it, and then
Mhm.
I watched it myself, and then he ended up watching it afterwards because it was kind of like that chain effect where like one watching, they're like, well, you
Love it.
have to. So then we got on it, but we never watched it together. So then we ended up rewatching the season 1 together and watch all of season 2 in one weekend because it was that good. And it's perfect for the summer because it's really a summer escapism, just fun show with a lot of action, comedy and adventure and also thrilling. Like it has all the aspects that you want in a great show in it.
Mm. Okay, okay. Yeah, that actually I'm inspired to watch it because my brother really loves that show. And now that it's coming around, someone's telling me to check it out. Good choices with that. Yeah, the last thing I binged was Community. Right now I'm binging Fleabag on Amazon Prime. Yeah, I've been to see that.
No, Fleabag's one I've wanted to watch, but I don't have Amazon Prime, so
Oh,
that's why one of my roommates does. So I'll have to borrow his to watch it because I've heard
yeah,
Fleabag's like incredible. So I've been wanting to watch it.
absolutely. It's only 12 episodes, a whole series, 2 seasons, 6 episodes each. But I'm really liking a perspective just about a, you know, 30 something living in London, figuring it out, but more, but again, having something to say. Great female lead. And Flora and Phoebe Waller. Today, my day with pronunciations, but we will improve, I promise. Well, Phoebe Waller Bridge, who's turning into a Renaissance woman herself. It's a great show with that. And I'm also I've just been watching a lot of movies lately too, just been catching up on the movies and just binging one show. And maybe Outer Banks is the next one. I'm somebody who likes to binge one at a time. And I watched this documentary on CNN called The History of Sitcoms. So really great, especially you love TV and the history of TV. And they're just going through the history of sitcoms, and there's all these shows that are now available to us on streaming services. Like started watching the first few episodes of I Love Lucy, and I was not surprised that I laughed at it a lot as much as I did, but it was great to see. Wow, it shows that great comedy can last no matter what generations. So I've been watching some of those, and like all the episodes are all over the place because of production codes and stuff. I was watching All in the Family to see that perspective and the game changing stuff there. I watched a show called Soap with Billy Crystal. I've been just putting myself to watch all these episodes. It's I just love getting the culture and learning something from it.
Exactly, and that's really great too, because it's always good to watch the older shows too, because they really
Yes.
can add something. Because I've seen a few episodes of I Love Lucy. I've never like binged it, but I did really enjoy what I've seen of it when it's ever been like
Yes.
probably like back in high school, and I'd see like sometimes they'd have like the reruns on cable.
Right.
And I'd watch a few. And Lucille Ball is just incredible.
Legend.
So I really enjoyed what I saw of it.
Yes, watch it on Hulu, everybody. I Love Lucy. Yes, so I'm 3 episodes in with that. And yeah, it's just non-linear, funny, obviously very different time, but it's a great storytelling, and it's very interesting, and seeing how much we have evolved in television as well. And again, as we were talking about before, giving more communities authenticity to tell their stories now, it's a beautiful time to see that.
Exactly. And that's one thing I really love about how there's so much content now is that there's so many people getting to tell their story in so many different communities
Yep.
and types of people. And it's really amazing that there's now all these outlets and people are getting more diverse shows out there for people to
Right.
watch and really truly learn about too. Because one of the greatest ways to learn is by watching a TV show,
Yeah.
really, because it's a way you learn about people.
Exactly. And doing it in an authentic and entertaining way. You won't be disappointed. And thank you to all our great content creators, writers out there, no matter what community you come from to entertain us. I'm excited to see where things are going. So, Chris, again, this has been such a pleasure the whole way through. I just want to do one last thing with you, which is called the Proust Questionnaire, which is 10 short but deep questions from inspired by Inside the Actor Studio. And I would just love to hear what you have to say about these 10 questions. So, are you ready, Chris?
Yeah, sure. That sounds great.
Let's get to it. My first question for you in the Proust questionnaire, Chris, what is your favorite word?
Oh, that one's a difficult one. I can't think of what my favorite word would be.
I love
uh,
it for that reason.
um, yeah, probably honestly, my roommates would have a better answer than what I'd probably think of because they're used to hearing me repeat things a lot. Um, but could I do a favorite phrase instead?
Yes, you may.
Don't shimmer your shine, I probably say a lot.
Don't
Like
shimmer
don't
your
shimmer your
shine.
shine or don't shimmer my shine or vice versa. That's one that I always like to say too. That I think is like a fun little phrase.
You got that. Great little phrase there. That is our longest answer for a favorite word, and we're going to count it. Great stuff. May I ask this now? What is your least favorite word?
um Probably this is most people's answer, but moist.
Believe it or not, it's not. It doesn't come up as frequent as we've done it. Like now, we've done a lot of these shows, and yeah, believe it or not, that hasn't come too much. So we do have an original answer there. That may be only the third or fourth time over 95 shows. So no shame in that. And yeah, it does give us the heebie-jeebies. So this question, now when I ask it, I say the same thing. This isn't a sexual question, as some people with dirty minds like to think. But again, if that's your answer, no judgment. But this is more of a life and fulfillment question. What turns you on in this world, Chris?
Probably kindness. Yeah,
Yeah,
I just love seeing, especially when there's bad events. I always like to read, especially on BuzzFeed, all the kindness type articles, and it always just brings kind of like a tear to my eye seeing how people step up in bad situations.
exactly. I think it's like the old Mr. Rogers quote. There's always someone willing to help. And I think more people are decent than we like to think. So, just give peace a chance, give people a chance, and you'd be surprised what they pull off for you for the right reason. So, having said that, what turns you off in this world?
Um, Hatred.
Mhm.
That's always turns me off. I just can't understand why people would hate people for just who they are. So that's one thing that would definitely turn me off in the world is hatred and ugliness.
Damn straight. Damn straight on that one. So, the next question is, what sound or noise do you love?
Um, that's another difficult one. Sound or noise? It's kind of a generic answer, but I guess just music, like kind of like even just if it's like a beat in music,
Hey,
any
that still
type of
counts.
music I love. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. So, what sound or noise do you hate?
Um,
Bad music? I'm just
oh,
kidding.
that would be a good answer, but I was gonna say actually they're very necessary, but fire alarms. Because they
Oh,
because it's really usually, at least luckily for me, like knock on wood, um, it's always just because of a warning or someone's cooking or
right.
something. So that's why I always hate them. But it's a very needed noise that I hate.
For sure. I mean, the U-Heart fire alarms, they really developed, they created some sound to really annoy us. And
Yeah.
my high school people would pull the fire alarm on the reg just because, man, that noise, especially high school, Chris, they would just literally do it for the hell of it. You just walk somebody, hey, look at me. Then you have to have everyone come, the cops, and everyone's mad. And uh fire alarm stories, man.
And then it just rings in your ear all day too. It's like you can't get rid of the noise.
Ah, that's why we need the music to push us through.
Exactly.
What is your favorite curse word?
Um, Probably just like fuck usually, probably. Yeah.
Classic. It's used for everything and we've really figured out the most unique ways to use that word. So it's
Yeah.
uh it's definitely a mainstay. So, what profession other than your own, Chris, would you like to attempt?
Um, Probably if I had to attempt another one, it would be acting. It's always been a passion for mine to more pursue it as a profession. Besides obviously the Fright Fest and
Mhm.
Six Flags, I've always wanted to act in either a TV show or a movie. Preferably TV actually, because I just really like the medium.
Yeah.
But that's always been a goal of mine is to somehow make it onto either a TV show or honestly a reality show. I've always thought that I could thrive on.
Hey, it's never too late, Chris. And you can make a lot of money for a production company or streaming services with your talent. So, oh, I am in your corner for that, Chris. I can't wait to see what you pull off as talent.
Thank you. Those are great words to hear.
Hey, it's my pleasure. And it's the truth. So, we are definitely going to look out for you, Chris DeGray. And having said that, what profession would you not like to do?
Uh, well, I would definitely be accounting because that's actually what I originally went to UHeart for
Mm-hmm.
before I switched to marketing and communications. Um, and it was one thing I liked it enough in high school, where I was like, okay, I can make money doing this. But then when math just goes really over my head. It's like too much for me to understand. So I would really hate to be accounting. I find it just very droning. And you definitely have to have a certain type of brain to be able to process all those numbers and be able to look at them and get them
Right.
right. And also not get anxious because then you're dealing with people's finances and stuff. So not to be getting anxious that you might make a mistake somewhere. Because I know
Yeah.
me, I'd probably be also very anxious, like worried because it's like not like in you how we're just taking a class. Like these are real people's finances you're dealing with and their taxes.
Right. So you using your skills for other things. I hear that. So my final question for today, Chris. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say to you when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Um, I guess that just that I lived a good life and that I was able to happily affect others, that I like made an impact in others, I would say.
Beautiful answer, Chris. And we all know that you're definitely on the road to do that. So, Chris, this has been one great pleasure. I had a lot of fun. I hope you want to come back on again. Especially love, we could definitely nerd out on pop culture and stuff too. For if you ever want to come on shows for that, that would be really great. And I really value and respect your opinion when it comes to that stuff, especially. So we'd love to have you come back on if you're up for it. And is there any other final words you have to say to us or the audience?
Uh, just yeah, I'd definitely be down to come on again. It was a lot of fun, and I can always talk about pop culture for like eons. Like I love pop culture so much. But it
Yes,
was
yes,
definitely
yes.
a great pleasure being on today and being able to catch up with you too.
Yes, I enjoyed every second. I am still getting that shirt. And Chris, thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure. And I'm looking forward to staying in touch. And we'll definitely be doing this again really soon. So keep making us proud. Enjoy the rest of your summer. And that's a great Chris DeGray, everybody. Thank you, my friend. We'll see you really soon.
Yes, thank you so much, Matt.
All right. You have a great night, buddy.
You too, Matt. Bye.
Bye.